Welcome to your future-proof career counseling explainer. Look, if you've been scrolling through the headlines lately, you're probably feeling a pretty profound sense of doom about where the economy is headed. Today, we're going to take that visceral anxiety and translate it into strategic curiosity. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this because, honestly, the more we understand what's actually happening, the less it feels like we're just staring down the barrel of a technological cannon.
So, let's just dive right into the big question. As you step into a job market that seems totally dominated by generative AI, you are probably wondering, is my hard-earned degree going to be obsolete before I even graduate? We constantly hear industry leaders promising, or, warning, that their products are going to disemploy millions of people. It is a completely rational response to feel anxious about the value of your education right now. But don't panic. Here is our roadmap for today's session. 1. The historical panic. 2. Horses versus spreadsheets. 3. Mapping vulnerable jobs. And 4. Training for the future.
Starting with Section 1, the historical panic.
Right now, it really feels like we are facing the biblical end of entry-level laptop jobs. The value proposition being pitched to corporate boards is chillingly simple. Why on earth would you hire a junior employee for a $50,000 salary when you can just pay a few $1,000s a year for AI tokens? The fear here is that the entire bottom rung of the corporate ladder is literally being sawed off.
But to really understand this, we need to talk about the lump of labor fallacy. This is a classic economic concept that reminds us, hey, just because specific tasks are automated, it doesn't mean all human work permanently disappears forever. You see, we tend to falsely assume that there's this finite pie of labor, right? And if a machine eats a slice, well, there's less for us. But historically, capitalism just doesn't work that way. The pie actually gets bigger, and the ingredients change.
Human labor is constantly evolving. Think about it. In the 1790s, 40% of Americans worked on farms. Fast forward to the 1920s, and 30 to 40% were working in factories. Today, less than 10% work in either of those sectors. We didn't run out of jobs. The economy simply grew, became way more productive, and created high-end roles that would completely blow the mind of an 18th century blacksmith. We didn't end work, we just evolved it.
Which brings us to Section 2, horses versus spreadsheets.
This is an absolutely crucial framework for diagnosing your modern job vulnerability. You really have to ask yourself, in the face of this new AI technology, are human workers like horses or are we like spreadsheets? Think about the horse. For centuries, we invented saddles, spurs, you name it to make them more productive. But then, we invented the internal combustion engine and the tractor. And boom, the population of working horses plummeted by 90% in just a few decades. They were flat out replaced. But now consider the spreadsheet. Back in the 1960s, only a few people worked with physical, paper spreadsheets. Then digital Excel came along. It didn't wipe out spreadsheet workers. It augmented them. It became this indispensable tool that turned almost every white-collar employee into a highly productive spreadsheet worker.
So, the million-dollar question is figuring out whether artificial intelligence is going to completely replace 20-year-olds with machines running 24/7, or whether it'll just become a steroidal Microsoft Office, like a mandatory tool that makes you, the human employee, wildly more productive. Now, history suggests we might be spreadsheets, but the sheer uncanny speed of AI development means we've got to prepare for both realities.
Moving on to Section 3, mapping vulnerable jobs.
To really understand the risk to your career, you need to grasp this concept called the Goldilocks zone of information legibility. This dictates exactly where artificial intelligence thrives and where it completely falls flat. You see, AI isn't some magic light bulb that shines equally on all problems. It has a very, very specific sweet spot.
Let me break this down. If a problem is utterly illegible, like, say, finding target proteins to cure pancreatic cancer from scratch, AI really struggles because the biological internet just isn't fully mapped out yet. On the flip side, if it's perfectly legible, like querying instant NFL analytics that ESPN researchers have already organized into a perfect database, well, the traditional system already gives you that answer in 2 seconds. But right in the middle, synthesizing hundreds of pages of a PDF to find a specific character's birthplace, grunt coding, turning messy, unstructured data into a clean summary, that is the Goldilocks zone. That's exactly where AI thrives. So as your career advisor, here is your mental cheat sheet. The vulnerable jobs are the ones stuck doing basic grunt work right in that Goldilocks zone. If your job is just basic symbol manipulation or summarizing standard text, a machine is going to do that faster and cheaper, for sure. The safe sectors, they sit at the extremes. They either require complex physical tasks in the real world, like a plumber diagnosing and fixing a leaky faucet, or profound high-level human reasoning and critical thinking that machines just cannot replicate.
And that leads us to Section 4, training for the future. Because just knowing what's coming isn't enough, right? You have to adapt your routine. And to do that, you must fundamentally understand the difference in purpose between a job and a gym. Now, in a job, the ultimate goal is output. It's efficiency. Getting the work done as fast and accurately as possible is the win. So using an AI tool at a job? Brilliant. But a gym? The ultimate goal there is the physical effort of lifting the heavy weight yourself. Taking the easy way out completely defeats the entire purpose of the exercise.
I really want you to remember this powerful insight. At a gym, the effort is the point. The hand-to-hand combat with the barbell, the difficulty, the sweat, that is literally why you were there in the first place. I mean, you wouldn't brag about bench pressing 200 pounds if you had a hydraulic machine lift the bar for you, right? It renders the exercise completely meaningless.
Right now, your education, your college experience, that is your intellectual gem. Wrestling a C+ paragraph into an A- paragraph is hard, frustrating work. But that hand-to-hand combat is exactly how you develop the muscles of critical thinking. The ability to think clearly isn't just about passing a class. It is a general-purpose human technology. It applies to your work, your relationships, and your ability to flourish as a human being. And if you outsource that struggle, you are poisoning the very root of your own curiosity.
Outsourcing your thinking to a chatbot because, hey, you'd rather scroll through TikTok than research the history of the Habsburg Empire is literally like paying a machine to do your bench press and expecting your chest to get stronger. It's completely absurd. It's taking the easy way out, and it guarantees that while the machines get exponentially more intelligent, your own capabilities are going to remain totally stagnant.
So, I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. We are entering an economy that will gladly automate the grunt work. The question is, what will you do with the time and energy that frees up? As silicon intelligence gets exponentially smarter, will you let your own intellect and curiosity wither away into atrophy? Or will you use these tools to spot new opportunities, push your boundaries, and train yourself to perform the brilliant, high-level human reasoning that a machine can never, ever replace? The choice of how you train in the gym is entirely up to you. So, let's get to work.